I told you guys that it was going to get better, and by God, it got better. I got to sit down and watch Superman Returns today. We have been checking out a Superman movie every day of the week so far, until we get to Batman versus Superman. I'm reviewing all of them in anticipation of the new Superman movie by James Gunn coming out this year in July. If you haven't checked out the other reviews so far, you can go do that over on my channel. There's a playlist, or it'll be right here. Make sure you go check them out. Let's get into this review. I'm stoked that we watched it. I liked it a lot. However, there's a few things that kind of bother me. So let's get into this review for you guys today. This is the 6th and final installment in the original Superman film series, and it serves as a homage to the sequels Superman and Superman 2. It ignores the events of Superman 3 and 4 and Supergirl. It stars Brandon Routh as our Superman, Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane, and as Lex Luthor we have a surprising Kevin Spacey. After a number of attempts to unfortunately bring back Superman following the financial failure that was Quest for Peace, which we checked out yesterday, Warner Brothers hired Sinner to direct Superman Returns in July 2004. The majority of the principal photography took place right here in my home country, Australia. Unfortunately, it took place in Sydney. The visual effects was handled by multiple different studios, including Sony Pictures, Imagineworks, and a few other ones. The filming began in March 2005 and ended in the same year in November. Upon its release, the film received generally positive reviews from critics who praised its visual effects, its storyline, and Sinner's directing, but some criticisms were directed towards the screenplay and the runtime. The runtime is something that I had an issue with. This movie was 2.5 hours long. I didn't think it needed to be that long. I think we could have cut down a lot of this. I do really like the fact that we don't do a retelling of Superman's journey to Earth. It gives a little description at the start of what's been going on since the last events of seeing him. We don't need to jump in and tell you who these characters are. We should all know who these characters are. We should already know their backstories, which I found a really nice welcome surprise. I thought we were going to be diving into his backstory, how he got to Earth, but no, none of that. It's just, he comes back to Earth and we're off to the races. While this film was one of its biggest films of the year, it earned over $361 million on a budget of $223 million, and becoming the 9th highest grossing film in 2006. Warner Brothers was disappointed with the worldwide budget, unfortunately, and officially cancelled a sequel that was slated to come out in 2009. The Superman film series was rebooted twice. First, it was rebooted 2013, Man of Steel, which we will be checking out in our next video, and the latest one with James Gunn that's coming out this year. So let's get into some of my thoughts. The plot was very interesting. The plot rolls around Lex Luthor plotting to destroy him once and for all with this island that he's going to build out of kryptonite, which he starts to somewhat do. Superman's return to Earth and learning how to cope again with his alter ego Clark Kent, and with his love interest Lois Lane moving on with her life, having a husband, having a son. I actually kind of really dig this plot. My issues with this film, though, are very few and far between. I had the issue with the runtime. It's too long. I had an issue with his Clark Kent. His Clark Kent just seems to be a dork, which I kind of get. That's the idea. He's a dork. And I didn't enjoy his Superman. His Superman was kind of arrogant. And one thing I really disliked was towards the end, when they're on the island that Lex Luthor builds, and they fight, and Superman drops down and loses his power. There's a part where he gets his ass handed to him, and as the thugs are dragging him away, he is screaming, "But I'm still Superman. But I'm still Superman." And I thought that was the stupidest thing ever. It didn't need to be warranted. I think that's the only part of the film that really made me question it. I didn't find this movie to be very boring, which is a plus. The other Superman movies I found a little bit boring. I'm hoping the next movie we check out, Man of Steel, isn't boring, because I really want to enjoy Superman. I really want to enjoy this DCU. I don't know much about a lot of the DC characters. I know Batman, but I haven't seen any of the other films, so I want to get into this a lot more. But did you know that it was revealed in the video game adaptation of this film that Krypton being discovered was just a hoax by Lex Luthor to draw away Superman from Earth, so Lex could be freed from prison, as Superman would be gone and be a no-show to testify against him in court. And that is how Lex Luthor gets out. I wish they kind of explained that in the movie. Lex Luthor is just there, and he kind of briefly mentions, you know, Superman wasn't there and I'm free now. I really enjoyed a lot of things about this film. Like I've mentioned already, I enjoyed the plot. The plot was very interesting, it was engaging, I liked the story, it was straightforward. So for the plot, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Casting, I really enjoyed the casting. I find our three main characters, Superman, Lois and Lex, all to be played perfectly, except for Lois. Lois is a bit weird. I'm not too fond of Superman's main interest being Lois Lane. Superman should be a people person, not just what does Lois want me to do. In this movie, it kind of seems like he just wants to impress Lois. He wants to win Lois back. Whether that's not what Superman should be. But the casting is fantastic. I really enjoy Kevin Spacey as not just an actor, but as his portrayal as Lex Luthor. I think it's a nice touch following the last Lex Luthor. So for the casting, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed all the characters, including the side characters. So that is that. Cinematography, this movie looks and sounds beautifully. It just the shots, the one shot of Superman above the earth, and it just looks beautiful. I was blown away with the visual effects from this film. I enjoy that New York looks so beautiful. Even though it wasn't really filmed in New York, it still looks like New York, and I really enjoy seeing that. I like the Daily Planet and seeing the world spin. I enjoyed it a lot. So for cinematography, it's going to get a 7.5 out of 10. Entertainment, I was very entertained with this film. I didn't find it boring. Like I stated already, I felt like it was a much more engaging Superman movie, not like the previous 4 films that we've seen. So for entertainment, I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. This unfortunately is the only movie with Brandon as our Superman, so we only have one movie to judge him on, so I'm not going to be too harsh on him. His suit is very basic, it follows the other Superman, so there's nothing too crazy about the suit. It didn't blow me away. His motives are a different story. Again, I didn't enjoy the fact that he just wants to win Lois Lane back. I think that's the wrong choice. I think Superman should be a people person. I didn't like his Clark Kent, so unfortunately this Superman is going to get a 5 out of 10. Which brings me to my overall thoughts on Superman Returns. I can't state enough how much I like this film. So Superman Returns gets a 7 out of 10. I have a fun fact for you guys. The last line of Superman 4, A Quest for Peace, is Superman saying to Luthor, "See you in 20." That scene was filmed in 1986. 20 years later, this film was released. I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you've watched to this point of the video, please consider hitting that like button. Please consider hitting that subscribe button. It will help me out and make my day. Hopefully I've entertained you a little bit. Hopefully you've learned something interesting. Have you seen this film? Do you like this film? Do you not like this film? Sound off in the comment section down below. Make sure you go down to all my links down below, all my social medias, whatever platform you're on, I'm on. Unfortunately, I have some sad news for you guys. It's Friday and I'm going to take a break, and we're going to come back here on Monday, next Monday, for Man of Steel. I'm really excited to see this. I heard it's not great. I have seen it, but I don't really remember it, so let's pretend like this is a first time watch for me. But until then, guys, be well, stay safe, have yourself a beautiful day, and I'll catch you guys Monday for Man of Steel.